Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Agnanathimirantasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chaksugunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 5 Chapter 5 Verse 5 पराभवस्तावदबोधजातो यावन्न जिज्ञासद आत्मतत्त्वं यावत्क्रियास्तावदिदं मनो वै कर्मात्मकं येन शरीरबन्धः Parabhavah, defeat. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, abodhajata, one is defeated, parabhava, and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, karmatmakam, absorbed in material activities, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear. And as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. Okay. Mm. As long as one does not inquire about spiritual values, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. All miseries arise from ignorance. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored by fruitive activity or absorbed in material activities. So if one is engaged in normal material activities, so his mind is called karmatmaka and absorbed in material activities, yena sharira bandha, by which he will get a material body. Now Prabhupada is explaining here why this karmatmaka, absorbed in material activities, results in material body. So this is his purport in the translation. As long as the mind is impure, meaning karmatmaka, consciousness is unclear, meaning contaminated, not pure. As long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. So mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. Yavat kriyaha tavat idam manaha karmatmakam. As long as he is engaged in fruitive activities, this mind will become absorbed in material activities. Yena sharira bandha. So by which he to get a material, he has to accept a material body. Generally, people think that one should act very piously in order to be relieved from misery, but this is not a fact. Even though one engages in pious activity and speculation, he is nonetheless defeated. His only aim should be emancipation from the clutches of Maya and all material activities. So we should not be too concerned about doing pious activities. Our aim should be emancipation, freeing ourselves from all material activities. Hmm. Speculative knowledge and pious activity do not solve the problems of material life. Gnana and karma do not solve problems of material life because it results in sharira bandha, bondage. One should be inquisitive to understand his spiritual position. Stated in Bhagavad Gita, Yathaidamshi Sammidognir Basmasat Kurute Arjuna Gnanagni Sarvakarmani Basmasat Kurute Tatha. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions of material activities. Meaning, unless one understands the self and its activities, one has to be considered in material bondage. So, fire of knowledge, meaning knowing that I am not this body and spirit soul. When one has that knowledge, then it will burn to ashes all reactions to material activities because first of all he'll stop doing getting involved in material activities. Subsequently, uh, he will surrender to Krishna, and thereby all his reactions will also get destroyed. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also said, Yenena Ravindaksha Vimuktamaninas Tvayasta Bhavat Avishuddha Buddhayaha. Person who doesn't have knowledge of devotional service may think himself liberated. Ye Anya Aravindaksha Vimuktamaninas. Ye Anya Aravindaksha. They don't have any knowledge of the lotus feet of Aravindaksha, Supreme Lord. Vimuktimanina. They might consider themselves as liberated. But he is actually not. Avishuddha Buddhaya, impure consciousness, impure intelligence. Asad Bhava, Asta Bhavat, Vayasta Bhavat. Aruhya Krishrena Parampadam Tata Patanti Adonadrita Yushmadangrayaha. Aruhya Krishrena Parampadam. He may approach the impersonal Brahman effulgence, Parampadam, Brahman. Tata Patanti Adaha. But they'll fall down again. Anadrita Yushmadangrayaha. Because they have no knowledge of Yushmadangrayaha. Yushmad means his, Angraya means lotus feet. Whose Arvindaksha's lotus feet? Meaning they have no knowledge of devotional service. So what is the summary of this? One may think that they are liberated. One who doesn't have knowledge of devotional service may think himself liberated, but he is actually not liberated. And even if he approaches the impersonal Brahman effulgence, he'll fall down because he has no knowledge of devotional service. So this is the plight of a person who is interested in gnana. As long as one is interested in karma and gnana, he continues enduring the miseries of material life, birth, death, old age, disease. Karmis certainly take on one body after another, which is what is being said here, karmatmaka. So karmi anyway takes another body. Gnani also will fall down from that high status. Karmis certainly take on one body after another. As far as Gnanis are concerned, unless they are promoted to the topmost understanding, they must return to the material world. Bhunam janmanam ante gnanavan mam prapadyate. Unless that Gnani, Bhunam janmanam ante, after many, many births, mam prapadyate, unless he surrenders to Krishna. And the point is to know Krishna, Vasudeva as everything and surrender unto him. Karmis do not know this, but a devotee who is 100% engaged in devotional service of the Lord knows fully what is karma and gnana. Therefore, a pure devotee is no longer interested in karma or gnana. Anya vilashita shunyam gnana karmadhyanavratam. Real bhakta is untouched by any tinge of karma and gnana. His only purpose in life is to serve the Lord. Actually, this is pretty difficult if you think about it. Of course, we are not engaged in this gnana marg, but we are engaged in karma marg. Our mind is also karmatmaka, absorbed in fruitive activity. So it is difficult. But a pure devotee is gnana karmadi anavritam. Karma, gnana karmadi anavritam. So he is free from this gnana and karma. So we also have to become free from this karmatmaka mindset. Paramatmaka doesn't is means absorbed in fruitive activity. Not that he's not doing any material activity at all. Not doesn't mean that. Mm, might, he might be doing, but he's not absorbed. So the important thing is to understand. Of course, it's very difficult, a very high platform to actually be engaged in karma, but still not be attached to it. It's only possible when we actually love Krishna so much that, like gopis, they were doing their daily regular activities. All the, actually, why only gopis, all the residents of Vrindavan, Rajabhumi, they were engaged in activities, but their whole absorption was in Krishna. So whatever activities they were doing were more like mechanical, just going on. But the real existence was in Krishna. Meaning they're always thinking about serving Krishna, always thinking about pleasing Krishna. That is a pure devotee. In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, such a person, he might be eating, sleeping, evacuating, etc. just as a matter of routine. Okay, all these things have to happen. That's all. But his only purpose in life is to serve the Lord. Actually, and I keep thinking about this, saying that as grastas, it's really difficult, very, very difficult. So we have to, the first opportunity we get, we have to run away from, finish off this material activities and close it. Because till the time we are forced to keep it open for whatever reason, meaning continue to engage in material activities, it's very, very difficult to become absorbed in Krishna. Very difficult. So we have to put a full stop to this karma. Stop being karmatmaka. Mm, should stop being karmatmaka. Because otherwise we'll just be defeated. Mm, if you don't inquire, of course we have done inquiry. To some extent we have done inquiry, but um, still to the extent that we remain karmatmaka, mm, engaged, colored with fruitive activity, we will remain in passion and ignorance. Then yeah, we will be defeated. In the sense again we might have to come back. We might be defeated and subjected to miseries. So key point here is that we should not remain absorbed in fruitive activity. एवं मनः कर्म वशं प्रयुङ्क्ते अविद्ययात्मन्युपधीयमाने प्रीतिर्न यावन्मयि वासुदेवे न मुच्यते देहयोगेन तावत्. When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, it does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being. And his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Such a powerful statement this. When we are in the mode of covered by mode of ignorance, our mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. So we don't understand that I am soul. We forget it. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, Preeti, Preeti na yavat mai Vasudeve Krishna, na muchyate deha yogena. Till we develop love for Krishna, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept the material body again and again. Deha yogena na muchyate. So the whole thing is Preeti Mai. So we have to develop love for Vasudeva Krishna. When the mind is polluted by fruitive activity, the living entity wants to be elevated from one material position to another. There's no end to this. Generally, everyone is involved in working hard day and night to improve his economic condition. Even when one understands the Vedic rituals, he becomes interested in position promotion to heavenly planets, not knowing that one's real interest lies in returning home back to Godhead. By acting on the platform of fruitive activity, one wanders throughout the universe in different species and forms. Unless he comes in contact with a devotee of the Lord, a guru, he does not become attached to the service of the Lord Vasudeva. See, the important thing here again, coming in contact with the guru is not the, it doesn't end there. One has to become attached to the service of Lord Vasudeva. Again, we've discussed this multiple times. Just being engaged in the service of Lord Vasudeva doesn't mean mechanically, right? So, being attached to Krishna, meaning being not attached to Maya, not attached to material stuff, right? And then being attached to the service. And being attached to Lord Vasudeva means also, doing our sadhana nicely, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and more importantly, not being attached to material, attached to these two things cannot exist, coexist. Attachment to Krishna, attachment to Maya. So there can only be one of them. Some devotees are attached to service, but they're not attached to Vasudeva. They just attach to service because they look at that service as an extension of their material, activity. Like, okay, I like to sing, so I will sing bhajan or kirtan. Mm. But they're actually not attached to Krishna. They're attached to the service because it seems to them more like an extension of their material, of the something that they like materially. What we otherwise call doubtailing. But we should become attached to the service of the Lord, the consciousness that it is for His pleasure, not that it is before my enjoyment. Last few days, our Guru Maharaj was here, and then there are so many devotees who are engaged in services, and there was one devotee was saying, "Oh, I enjoyed this service." That mentality is not good. It's okay. It's okay. It's a very neophyte mentality. I enjoyed this service. Somehow everybody wants to enjoy the service. Mm, Like I said, it's doubting, it's good, but eventually we have to be worried, concerned whether Krishna liked it, whether Krishna was pleased, whether Guru was pleased. That is the important thing to consider. There can be instances, and it's so difficult to understand. There can be instances where we might be doing something which is devotional service, maybe like topmost platform of devotional service, but it's not pleasing to Guru. Um, because there is some contamination in the way that service is being done. So it's it's most important for us to understand saying that Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasada. So we have to really understand the mood of Guru, not simply just, you know, I keep saying this again and again because I keep seeing this, fault. Mm, The devotees are initiated, but they have no understanding of their Guru. Mm. So knowing the Guru, one has to become attached to him and thereby become attached to the service of Lord Vasudeva. Knowledge of Vasudeva requires many births to understand. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After struggling for existence for many births, one may take shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva Krishna. When this happens, one actually becomes wise and surrenders unto him. That is the only way to stop the repetition of birth and death. This guy confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the instructions given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami at the Shashvamedha Ghata. Manda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. The living entity wanders throughout the different planets in different forms and bodies, but if by chance he comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of the spiritual master, he receives Lord Krishna's shelter and his devotional life begins. His Holiness Shivram Maharaj in his book Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, he says, what is the meaning of this getting this Bhakti Lata Bij? What is the meaning of getting the seed? The meaning of getting the seed means actually surrendering to the instructions of devotional service. That is the bija. The bija is Vaidhi Bhakti. That is the bija. Which means that we have to follow things as given, as has been ordained by acharyas, authorities. We have to follow. Because ultimately, we have to come to this platform of love of Krishna, which is not possible if we just do casual bhakti, meaning it doesn't matter. However I do, it's okay, acceptable. We can't come to the platform of love. Very, very important for us to stick to the principles. Because if we don't follow rules, then what will happen? We will remain on the material platform. Then, which means that we'll remain in ignorance. Then we cannot understand Supreme Living Being. Is this clear? This topic clear? So unless love of Krishna will happen only when we come to the spiritual platform. The spiritual platform is not possible, or we don't come to the spiritual platform if we remain on the material platform, which is ignorance and passion. For us to come out of this platform of ignorance, passion, we have to accept the bija, Bhakti Lata bija, and engage in devotional service, pure devotional service. And the bija itself means accepting the instructions, the rules and regulations. Only then can we actually hope to come out of this ignorance and understand Krishna. Without understanding Krishna, how can we develop love for him? Okay. यदा न पश्यत्य यथा गुणेहाम स्वार्थे प्रमत्त सहसा विपश्चित् कतस्मृतिर्विन्दति तत्र तापान् आसाद्य मैथुन्यम agaram agnaha. Even though one may be very learned and wise, he is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is a useless waste of time. So all the learned and wise men of wise people of this world, they are mad because they're all endeavoring for sense gratification. They don't understand it's a useless waste of time. Being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in the material world, centering his interest around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse and which brings him all kinds of material miseries. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. Being forgetful of his own interest. Ate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. Without understanding that his real interest is in Vishnu, one who thinks that his real interest is in things connected with his material body. What does he do? He tries to be happy in the material world, centering his interests around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse and which brings him all kinds of material miseries, which is basically family and its responsibilities. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. In the lowest stage of devotional life, one is not an unalloyed devotee, meaning one is not a pure devotee, meaning he is a Mishra Bhakta. It is the lowest stage of devotional life. Anabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. To be an unalloyed devotee, one must be free from all material desires and untouched by fruitive activity and speculative knowledge. On the lower platform, one may sometimes be interested in philosophical speculation with a tinge of devotion. However, at the stage, one is still interested in sense gratification and is contaminated by the modes of material nature. So contaminated, this is contaminated state. Jnana karma. The influence of Maya is so strong that even a person advanced in knowledge actually forgets that he is Krishna's eternal servant. Therefore, he remains satisfied in his householder life, which is centered around sexual intercourse. Hmm. Conceding to a life of sex, he agrees to suffer all kinds of material miseries. Due to ignorance, one is thus bound by the chain of material laws. Hmm. He agrees to suffer all kinds of material miseries. That's all. So this life of sex, which is this marriage, is just material miseries. That's all. Due to ignorance, one is thus bound by the chain of material law. No one may be very learned and wise. He is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is a useless waste of time. Now we have to remember this every time. These statements, Bhagavatam, are so powerful. But yeah, conditioned life is difficult. Somehow we have to sincerely try to do bhakti, and then pray for mercy. Try to please Guru, and by his mercy we can try to come out of this life of ignorance. Okay, I think I'll stop here. If there are any questions, because too many heavy stuff. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
Pranam to everybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam.
No, I just want to say, it's not connected with the ISKCON, power of Bhagavatam. But about 20, more than 20 years, there was one old person, Bhagavatam reciter, came, and my cousin has kept Bhagavatam reciting 7 days in his house. And after 7 days, they keep just like a Ajamil story, they keep seven knot bamboo. And they tied 7 knot bamboo, and that should go to the Ganges.
Okay.
And they done half job. They sent that to here Kaveri.
Okay.
So after today, just like the Puran Vishram was there, Bhagavatam. Next day, my cousins and they were sitting together, and other cousin was sitting. Suddenly, my grandmother,
you told this.
start speaking in a language of voice of my grandmother. Why you put this bamboo in Kaveri? It should have gone to the Ganges.
Mm.
So then, and then they called my uncle. He came and sat on sofa. So same sir. I think that the other cousin through him she was speaking. His hand was there like my uncle's hand on. Then his name was Murailal. He said, "Hey, Murari, you are sitting on my hand. Just go a little bit far."
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking a lot, and then she said, "Okay, my father's name was Ramnivas." She said, "Okay, call Ramu. I let him also. I can see him." Okay, that time we were a lot of in problem actually financial, but nobody phoned to my father. But she said, while going, she said, "Okay, you tell Ramu, okay, everything will be fine. I'm going. Okay, can I like that way? Can I?" This is a powerful of Bhagavatam actually, which Ajamin story is there. Is that you can relate to that one actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anybody has any comments, questions?
I think I fully agree, bro, that this puppet presently it is actually a very deep puppet where it is said that all the people who are working in Grahastha, in basically working in organizations with where the mode of passion is kind of predominant, and it is not possible to work in today's world being in mode of goodness because people will not let you remain in mode of goodness. And I think what Prabhupada has answered is that the attraction of this opposite gender, just because of satisfying that particular thing, human beings or grahasthas are agreeing to suffer all kinds of material tapa, right? Prabhupada says that it is tapa. So now I think it's a great rhetorical question Prabhupada is asking, that should we even embrace this kind of livelihood, or should we think that can we have more simpler uh, life where we get more time for devotion, even though it might be little economically less advanced, and maybe staying in some houses which is not so opulent. We might have to have uh, some austerity of, let's say, staying without electricity and all, and give more focus to devotion. I think that's where it is hinting. That is my interpretation. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea is that once you enter Grihastha, um, I mean, that's that itself is the problem. But having entered Grihastha, one has to understand that the goal of life is not sense gratification. Right. So, and it's difficult because in a family there are different people and with different their own vasanas, karma, and so for grihasthas they are just like dragged from one direction to another, right? Maybe sometimes it's because of the sense gratification of other people in the house. Maybe sometimes it is because of our own sense gratification. So the thing is I mean, this entering into this grihastha life itself is foolishness. But we cannot continue to remain foolish. We were foolish when we entered because of our previous vasanas, etc. But
Yeah.
the whole point is actually to live a life which is not centered around sense gratification. This is the key because we can't undo this, right? So, but we should not try to be happy in this material world. This is what actually many devotees end up doing, right? Everybody is trying to be happy in this material world. And Prabhupada is saying, what is this happiness in this material world? It is centered around home. Simple. It is centered around home. And it brings a lot of material miseries. Right? And this life is not different from a life of a foolish animal. So we should not try to be happy in this world. And inevitably, right? Most devotees, most Grihastha devotees, they are just trying to everybody, right? Without with very rare exceptions, are trying to have a meaning, whatever, peaceful material life. That's what they want. Mm. But that is just trying to be happy in the material world. It is difficult. It is difficult. It's not easy. Right? But time and again, we have to remind ourselves saying that, we are not trying to be happy in this material world. We're trying to get out of this material world. So we should only try to be happy on the spiritual platform, for which we have to engage spiritually. We have to take up, we have to engage in spiritual activities. So we have to, this whole trying to be happy in the material world is something that we have to be, cautious, saying that that's not our goal. I mean, my takeaway is this, that of course, see, by living simple living, high thinking, obviously it will solve a lot of things. But again, that again requires support, understanding of from the other people, other members of the family, right? So it's not very easy. But the whole idea is that we should live a life free of sense gratification. We should not try to be happy in this material world. This is very difficult. Very, very difficult. We do bhakti and we say, okay, I'm doing bhakti. Let my material life be peaceful. Let my material life be happy. But that does not. But this is not going to help us. So I think that's the focus, is to not try to be happy in this material world. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanwad Pranam. So question, Prabhu, is so I know, so whatever the situation we are in, right? So we're always trying to, get to a better situation, right?
Yeah.
So is it best to accept whatever the situation you are in and then concentrate on bhakti rather than trying to improve upon your current material situation,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
that's devotional life. Devotional life is not about improving material situation, right? That is our fallen state that we are actually trying to do that. That's what this purport is saying. This verse is saying that we should not try to be happy in this material world. And all our endeavors, and otherwise, why would devotees not engage full time in devotional service, or why would devotees have less time for devotion? Because all our time is being taken up not just for maintenance. I mean, come on, I think all of us have to be true to ourselves, right? How many of us here are working for necessities of life, right? Mm.
Mhm.
So we are not working for necessities of life. We are working to make life more comfortable, to make life, we are trying to protect our future. It's just trying to be, the whole process is about trying to be happy in this material world. And that's not what we should be doing, because then we will not go anywhere, right? We will remain here. Yes, so see, and again, okay, if there are difficult situations in life, we can try, but not over endeavor. Our focus should still be bhakti. Okay, like somebody has a health problem, okay, you can go take medicine. That's all, right? But not beyond that. So trying to make this material life happy is not going to give us Krishna. Somehow it's a very simple truth, but very difficult to accept. Yeah, so to answer your question, we should just go on. Yesterday, Maharaj was here, so many devotees came to meet him, and then some devotee has like serious problem with his marriage. So he came. Maharaj just said, okay, what can be done? Chant Hare Krishna. Because it was very difficult. I mean, the situation is difficult. Really, I mean, yeah, if you look at it materially, you feel sorry for the devotee. But Maharaj's response was simply this, saying that what can be done, chant Hare Krishna. So by that, we can understand, saying that how much ever we might try to make our material life better, comfortable, there's no guarantee that it's going to happen, number one. Number two, that's not our focus. That should not be our focus. That is what these verses are saying, isn't it? That's what Ṛṣabhadeva is saying. Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, these verses are very heavy. Okay, we'll close here. Śrīmad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasinubhyo cha Patidānam Pāvānebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Vaishnavandi ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranam.